All right, here we are. Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our case study interview series here at Futuristic Academy, where we showcase real life examples of people who are walking the millennial path, people who are highly successful and achieved entrepreneurs who've created their own careers, living their dreams, and making an impact. And our goal is that with these interviews and our in-depth curriculum inside Futuristic Academy, our training inside the Academy will actually inspire you and also educate you so that you can too start creating your own millennial career and or perhaps taking it to the next level, doing what you love, getting paid big bucks, and making an impact in society and the world. My name is Diana Altiva, and I'm one of 3 co-founders of the Academy. And in this video segment, I have the lovely opportunity to be speaking with an amazing visionary woman. Camden Hawk is absolutely an exceptional example of someone who is truly living her millennial path, doing what she loves, making waves, and making a difference. And I'm so excited to have you here, Camden. How are you?
Hi, I'm terrific. I'm so happy to be here.
So happy to have you. So happy to have you and to just start with you because you're really my first interview for this series. So it's a real true pleasure. Now, I kind of spent some time going over your what you have out there, your marketing materials, and your message online, and it's in so much alignment with what we have here inside Futuristic Academy. I feel like we're all such game changers and change makers, and I just love it. We're like the messengers of this new paradigm. And so I'm really happy. I'm really happy to have you so that we can get your unique perspective on this beautiful subject of entrepreneurship and creating your own career based on, your passions and based on your core values and your spiritual practices, what you love doing. So I'd love for you to share with us a little bit about you, share your story. Take us back to the beginning and where you're right now. How did you get there? Were you always an entrepreneur, or was there a time in your life when you what was the defining moment, perhaps, when you decided to actually start following your millennial career and doing what you love?
Yeah, that's a big question. I'm going to take you back just briefly to growing up. When I grew up, my father was an attorney, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and I had this idea that, you got dressed up for business, and you went to work, and then you came home at 5 o'clock and you were in a bad mood.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is that about? What happens when you're away, at the office? Because it doesn't seem like it's anything good. Yet I was still really curious, and it's what I knew. So as I got older, I was about 8 years old, and I remember saying, I want to move far away. I want to live in a big city. I want to have amazing clothes, and I want to be a businesswoman. And I had this idea of what it was in my mind, yet I knew it was about independence at that age. That's what I knew it was about. It was about freedom and independence. And that dream got a bit derailed for me. That same year, I realized that my mom was an alcoholic. And I saw her actually throwing up, and that's when I knew I had to step into action and begin to take care of my brother and myself and figure out how it was all going to be done. And that journey went for a long time, and I was just in that place of really just making sure that everybody was taken care of, trying to control everything, trying to make sure that we were safe and all of that in our life, and it was exhausting. And so I didn't have a lot of time to think about what I wanted, but you know what I wanted? I wanted freedom. I really wanted freedom. And so as I got older and was getting ready to go to college, my father was saying, you should major in this and you should major in that. And I found myself just kind of following what he was telling me, but not following my own heart. And in my heart, I knew that I wanted to help people. I knew that I was good at listening. I knew that I was really gifted at being able to help people decide what they needed to do. It was just something that was born inside of me. And what I really wanted to major in at that time was something regarding PE. And I said, well, can't I major in PE? And my dad was like, well, I think you ought to do something business related. So I did get some business classes, but honestly, I felt really not great at business. I felt dumb, and so I kind of dumbed myself down and backed down. And I was also in pre-law at the time, which I liked, but it just wasn't my calling. So after college, I actually moved to Washington, D.C., and I worked on Capitol Hill. And I was working for somebody. And it was really exciting being in politics and everything, but what I realized was I didn't want to go to law school, and nobody was helping anybody. I felt like everybody was stabbing everybody in the back, and we weren't working as a team. So I quit my job, and I started to teach aerobics and personal train, and I got certified. And I think that's when it was like this ownership of, wow, I can do something on my own, and I can help people. And I was seeing people transform, and that just clicked. It clicked for me. So that was a huge part of, I think, when it began, and then it just continued from there. And you know, my story, I am a rebel, I'll just say that. That's kind of I mean, I was a wild child. I've done a lot, I've experienced a lot, I've had a lot of ups and downs, and it's continued probably just until the last, 10 to 15 years. But I think that through that, I've gained a lot of wisdom and a lot of insight in knowing what was really important to me, my passions, what I wanted to do, and how I could really step up and help other people. So I do have a lot of parts of my story, and I think it might take a little bit longer to share, so maybe we can do that a little bit later. But that's how sort of my entrepreneurship began.
Yeah, wow. And yes, I absolutely would love for you to share more of your story. But as you're speaking, I can just so much relate to so many of the same experience, and as the hurdles from the childhood and all the responsibilities that were thrusted upon you, and then going that really high achieving career route, and then coming back. I'm kind of curious though to know, was there any fear? Because I know a lot of people are right now, kind of trying to gain that courage to step into their power, into what they want to do, what they're passionate about, and not go that, the other traditional path that's not necessarily aligned with their core values and their core essence. And I just really want to kind of find out for you, what was the transitioning like, or what that process looked like, and after that, perhaps you can actually share where you're right now, like what your business looks like and what you were able to accomplish.
Sure. Oh yes, there was fear. There was fear just about every step of the way, and I really lived my life daring myself. You know the game Truth or Dare? People always used to play Truth or Dare. I always took the dare because I was actually afraid to share my truth, because I was afraid that people wouldn't like me. I was afraid that people wouldn't accept me for who I was. I was afraid that people would find out that my family wasn't perfect and that I wasn't perfect. So for me, it was a fear of people thinking, oh, she doesn't have it all together. It only appears that way on the outside. So that was a huge fear, and that really kept me playing small for a long time. And then there was just something that clicked. I took a public speaking class. I threw up 6 times before I even got to make my first talk. I mean, that was crazy, and teaching my first aerobics class, that was another hurdle. And actually going through a divorce, when I realized I wasn't happy at all, and I had gotten married for the wrong reasons, and I had actually manipulated my way into it, and then I had to say, I got to get out of this. So there was fear there. And really, honestly, there was fear in starting a business and just putting myself out there and saying, this is what I do. Are people going to come and work with me? So I say that you're not growing unless there is fear. I think fear is the invitation to grow, and that has gotten me where I am now, because I've gotten to that place where I'm willing to share the truth. you pretty much get what you see. I'm very vulnerable. I'll really share my life, because if it can help you in any way to start your business, or to, get over that fear and just say, I'm going to really step into my passions and I can do this and I can serve, then I want to be that person that can really be there for you. So where I am now is I am a certified life coach. I call myself a radiance coach. I'm also a yoga instructor, and I'm an author, and I'm a mom. And as a radiance coach, I help women really step out from behind the walls of their self-limiting beliefs and help them let go of them for good. They can start really living with what matters to them most in life. And what's really cool is they can make money doing what they love. And that's what we work on together. And I have chills because it's so rewarding for me to work with my clients. And I'm a mom, I have 2 girls, and I want to inspire them to be able to stand up, live their passions, and give back to the world. So that's kind of where I am today.
That's awesome. That's so wonderful. Wow. I can so relate, and what I'm really hearing from you is that you, as you are going through all these different fears, you somehow got to a point where you actually started looking at them and acknowledging them and realizing, you know what, that is a limiting belief. That is not who I am. I am right now betraying my core essence. And so then taking that courageous step. So my question is, how can people, what can you tell people of how they can start stepping into their truth? What are some things, maybe steps that they can take?
Okay. I know that I felt things when I was a young child, and I grew up in the South, and we were taught to be seen but not heard. So I started to push those things down. So one of the things that really helped me to bring that out was actually when I started practicing yoga. It changed my life. And it doesn't necessarily have to be yoga. Movement can really bring things to the surface if we allow that. But yoga gives us this beautiful place to be able to listen to what's inside of us. So I think the first step is being willing to become aware and to acknowledge exactly where you are right now. Because if we continue to resist, where we are, we just keep stuffing and putting it down. But if we say, I'm here right now, I'm feeling that I'm ready for a change, I just want to acknowledge that, and then, invite it, and then be willing to listen, whether it's a sign or somebody calls you up and says, hey, I've got this really cool opportunity. That's what happened to me. You got to listen. So I think those are a couple of big steps. And I know yoga can be a process for beginning to listen, not only with your ears, but with your heart, with your skin, with every part of you. And you become more aware of what's around you and when the opportunities do show up,
Yes, absolutely. I you saw it on my Facebook wall. I posted that it was my birthday last weekend, and for some reason it's just whatever I wanted. I couldn't really do much about it. I was in the state of grieving in a way, which you actually said, birthdays comes with grieving sometimes, and they can be very emotional, and it's my 29th birthday, and I don't know why, I'm feeling kind of weird. And so I can, in the last 3 or 4 days, I've actually gone to yoga class every single day, and the difference that just, created in me, in my body, in my emotional state, and the balance that it brings, it's so, so awesome. So I'm glad you mentioned this, because this is something I'm working on, is starting a very consistent yoga practice. I do heated vinyasa right now. There's a studio right nearby, and yes, that's wonderful. Another thing that you said is the movement. Dancing for me works really well, and I recognize that there has been times in my life, and when I'm, during my actual career of being an entrepreneur, I've actually ignored that part. I've gotten busy with a lot of the, busy work, yet the movement, I find out when I get into this movement and I start dancing, it unlocks so much power and creativity that when I come and start working, it's like, whoa, why am I not doing this every single day? To get to know myself. So It is so empowering. So I'm glad you're sharing this. And I do want to kind of go into a little bit about, I think that you would be the right person, the perfect person to kind of talk a little bit about balance. How do you achieve balance, and how people achieve balance, and emotionally, and with their mind, and with their spirit, and in their body? What can people do to do that?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because honestly, it's been a study for me in my experience in my life and my business probably for the last, oh my gosh, 20 years. And really since I've had children. Our girls are 11 and 12, and going to work and then having children, because I had them later. I had them at 36 and 37. So I have been working a little while, and then having them and thinking, how do I actually do this? And you know what? I think the word balance, I think we're actually numb to it. I think we don't really have a deep understanding of what it means until we put ourselves into sort of an entrepreneurial experience, because we're in charge of our time. We're in charge of our schedule. We're in charge of what days we work, so we can play with that. And at the same time, we're so passionate, we can get caught up in our work. I love my work. I probably would do it 24/7. But I also know that I need a balance, or what I like to call synchronized movement. So there's time with my children, there's personal time for myself, there's yoga time, there's meditation time, there's appointment time with my clients, there's creative time where I need to take time away so that I can create from my soul and bring new things not only into my life but for my clients to grow with too. So I think it's each person really looking at what are the components that I want to nourish and grow and evolve in my life and in my business. And how can I then allow them to dance, within the framework that I'm creating of this synchronized movement.
Wow, I like that, synchronized movement. Do you actually schedule this time for everything, or do you just let it flow from together? Or
I think it's important to schedule it. I am a scheduler, and then yet I think this may sound crazy. I call it a creative space day, but I think it's important to schedule spontaneity. Now, I know that sounds counterintuitive, right? But if we just allow ourselves, some people might call it a creative space day or a spirit day or a me day, whatever you want. And it could be a half day, it can be a couple of hours. But if you can just put that aside and not put anything within that space and leave it open to whatever comes up with in your imagination, I think that that's really important. So I do schedule some things, but that is like a flow time, where you can let things just move and inspire you with, oh, I'm going to go and take a walk, or no, I'm kind of being led for this, or you know what, I'm just going to hang for a bit. There's no pressure to perform or to complete a task. It's just simply being in that movement that's a little bit more spontaneous than your regularly scheduled times.
Yeah. Yes. I'm just curious, do you have some sort of a ritual routine in the mornings? What does your day look like in the beginning of the day to set the stage?
I love ritual. I especially think that women are really drawn to ritual. I know some men are too, but I speak for myself and my clients with ritual. I wake up in the morning, usually around 5:30, get the kids to school because that's part of my balance. They're about to get out, which is a whole new animal in summer, but getting them off to school. I usually take a walk, then I come back and I have a meditation. And what's funny is I play Wayne Dyer. I use his I Am meditation music, which I really love. The tone really takes you very deeply into your meditation, and all my animals come and gather around when they hear it. They will run from upstairs and come down. It's great. So I do that for 20 minutes in the morning. I do a card draw for the day. And then I will start with my appointments after I've had some breakfast and I'm ready to go. I do yoga. So some days, 3 days a week, I try to go to a class. And other days, I'm usually doing about 30 to 45 minutes of yoga in the morning as well. So my morning is reserved usually, for me, because it sets intention and focus. Whereas I know some people just kind of, hit the ground and run. It really doesn't work for me. I'm not productive. I don't feel grounded. And I don't feel that I'm giving to my clients or my family or myself or the planet, really, if I'm not grounded and focused, you know?
Yes, absolutely. I have been testing this, and you know, there's days when I know that it's going to be particularly a busy day, and sometimes I'm like, I have to jump into work. I gotta get this thing going, and so I start my day right away with some sort of, you know, project that I'm working on, and every single time, my day just it's a huge mess.
Yeah.
And so I noticed that anytime, really anytime, I follow my morning ritual, which is very similar to yours, and you know, I think I want to add that walk in the morning. I've been being called, yet I haven't really taken on that. You know, haven't followed that calling of just feeling the morning breeze and just walking, and I feel like that can really, really bring good energy. But I do the meditation, and I'm going to try that Wayne Dyer meditation for sure. So I can attest to that for sure. Now, we're kind of getting short on time here, and what I want to do is, I know you have so much to share with our community, and I can't wait, and I almost feel like we have to get together again. But, you know, you talk about truth and dare, and I'm so curious about that process, and I'm also curious about knowing more about that radiant business breakthrough process that you have, and also the money relationship, heal your money story. You have so much going on and so much wisdom to share with our audience. And so what I want to end this with here, and then we can move on to the other part of the interview, is I want you to share your core message with us. Like, what is your business core message? What do you teach out there in the world? And from there, I really want to bring this into a more in-depth discussion to actually discuss how you came up to having that being your core message and really defined it. And want to get into the business nitty-gritty after that.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to. And you know, it's so interesting because we're always in evolution, right? And even our core message, as we evolve, continues to evolve, and our clients really evolve with us. It's just the coolest thing. But I think that my core message is, I really want women, especially, to know their value, to be able to step out from the wall of these self-limiting beliefs that actually serve no one. They serve no one. And to be able to step into their inner beauty and power, live their life from the inside out, making money with what matters most to them, what they love doing, and what they're best at. That's really the core message. And then when that is all at its beautiful flow, there's this sense of contributing to the planet in such a big way, not only financially, but by stepping into our uniqueness and who we are, grounded as a human being and this beautiful soul here on a mission. So that's really my core message and how I work with people, and I just feel really blessed to continue to step into that path and to serve.
That is awesome, and it's so in alignment with what we're doing and what our message at Futuristic Academy is. I truly feel like we're the messengers of this message, and it's expanding and expanding, and more of us are spreading this truth out there in the world because it's so needed. I want to thank you so much, Camden, for being here with us, and you know, for everybody who is watching, all of our viewers here, Camden and I will continue our conversation for at least another 45 minutes or more, where we'll really dive into a lot of the hows. I am so curious. You know, we're going to go into much more in-depth type of information. I want to know how you started building your business online, and you know, how you actually got to build all of these assets that you have, and really get into the nitty-gritty details and tips of you know, how someone else can make these same breakthroughs. And I really want to kind of dive into the truth and their process that you have, and how people can heal their relationship with money. So there's a lot, and of course there's another part to your story that I would love for you to share. So for anyone who wants to be a part and actually get access to this interview, you can watch the continuation of this conversation inside Futuristic Academy in our members area. And how you can join is just click on the link below. So we'll see you there.